Hello, this is your narrator. There has been some questions since the last podcast, so I will take the time now to address them. As I explained earlier, the histories and stories I'm bringing you are from other worlds and other dimensions. Naturally, the languages are far more exotic than what we are used to. In some cases, since I'm human, I'm not physically capable of speaking some of these languages. So what me and my researchers do is find the closest English words. We do this especially with names. So from here on out, if I call someone Stalin, it's not a clever clue to the mentality of that person. Stalin is just the closest interpretation of that name. Also, just to clarify, English is not the language of the cosmos. It is the language of this world only. One final thing, not all the stories are epic struggles of many cultures spanning years. Some of these stories are quite intimate, sometimes consisting of only two people. This story takes place in a town, not too big, not too small. Imagine a grocery store. The day is early fall. Large clouds floating in a brilliant blue sky. The temperature is a comfortable low 70s. No humidity. A gentle breeze makes the changing leaves create an ever-present rustling. A blonde woman exits the grocery store. She is attractive, but not breathtakingly beautiful. She is kind and warm. She is sensibly dressed for the weather, jeans, boots, and a light coat. A scarf is wrapped around her neck. In each arm is a bag of groceries. She walks to her car and puts the bags in her trunk and walks around and gets in it. Making sure it's safe, she pulls out and leaves. Across the parking lot is a large black pickup truck. Its large diesel engine idles as the driver looks on. He is patient and has waited for weeks for this moment. His eyes watch the woman walk out of the store and into her car. Just like the times he watched her cook, work, and sleep. He knows every detail of her life. He puts the truck in drive and follows the car as the leaves keep rustling. The woman pulls up on a driveway off an oak tree-lined street. In fact, the whole neighborhood is made up of two-story craftsman-style houses. The woman is proud of her home. Not overly, but in a sensible sort of way. It's not large or opulent, but it is hers, and she loves it and is happy there. She takes her groceries inside of her house and puts them away. It is her vacation and she's going to relax for the day. She sits down and turns on her TV. The screen flickers on to reveal a cooking show. She typically doesn't like these shows, but it is relaxing, so she lays back on her couch and watches. The black truck pulls up to the house and parks. The man inside looks at the house and sees. He hates this neighborhood. He hates this house. He hates the woman. No real reason, really. Some people put out a light in this dark world. He hates the light and wants to destroy and plunge the world further into darkness. Now he waits. He knows the schedule not of just the woman, but her neighbors. He will wait until the neighbor across the street leaves for their spin class, and he will be totally alone to do what he wants to do. After a couple episodes of the cooking show, the woman hears a sound from her kitchen. She gets up and investigates. She sees nothing open or out of place, so she goes back to her couch. The home she loves is old and makes strange sounds from time to time. She watches the show completely content. Suddenly something wraps around her neck and pulls her back over the back of the couch. Her head makes a crack as it hits the hardwood floor. Everything she knows goes black. The woman wakes up and her head is throbbing with pain. She tries to sit up, but she is restrained. Her body fills with adrenaline and panic. As she looks around, she sees that she is still in her house and she is tied to her dining room table. She remembers buying it. At the time, it felt like an adult purchase, and she was finally an adult. At her feet is a tall man. His clothes are dirty, The cuffs of his army jacket are black and greasy like his long hair hanging down in front of his face. "Please, take whatever you want. Just don't hurt me," the woman pleads. The man walks around the table and smacks the woman in her face with the back of his hand. He says nothing as he walks back around the table. He cannot stand her voice. The man watches her as the clock above her stove ticks. It is not yet time. The man starts walking throughout the house, his boots landing with small thuds on the hardwood floor. His eyes scan the pictures on the wall. Love. This place is full of love. It is disgusting and abnormal. His stomach turns in protest as he looks at the pictures of the thing with its parents and friends. Everyone in the pictures was smiling, showing their teeth like they were predators. They are not. He is, however. He is a predator of his divine God that has shown him the way and protects him. The man keeps walking, his eyes taking in the foulness he sees. Pictures, knickknacks are everywhere. This woman must be stopped. She is a heretic, spreading false hope and a false message of a false god. The man keeps walking. He has no idea why he must wait. Every time his god comes to him when it is time, not a moment before. The man thinks he must take in all this foulness to keep him pure, to keep him vigilant so he won't become complacent. From deep inside, the man feels a pull towards the woman in the other room. It is almost time. The woman struggles against her bonds. Confusion and fear rage in her mind. Why is this happening to her? She was a good person. She helped others. Life was hard, but she worked and strived to make it better. She wasn't religious, but she felt bringing happiness to others made the world better. The woman could feel her heart beat faster and sweat starting to cover her skin. Her bonds were cutting into her wrist and making her hands go numb. Why was this happening? She did not know this man. She had no enemies that she knew of. Why would he want to hurt her? The woman strained and tried to loosen the bonds. The old oak table groaned with the effort. The woman stopped as she heard his heavy footsteps walk around her house. She closes her eyes and prays he didn't hear the protest of the old table. The gag the man put in her mouth slides a little bit deeper down her throat. At this point, the tip of the cloth is now tickling her gag reflex. As she lay there, she could hear the clock tick from the kitchen, its relentless march to the end of her life. The woman tries to break the binds again. The cloth in her mouth once again slides further down her throat. The woman tries to break the bonds again. The cloth in her mouth moves again and she starts coughing during her struggle. A small ray of hope occurs when it seems the right bind seems to loosen. She can't tell if the loosening is in her mind or if it's actually working. During the struggle, the woman turns her head to the side. Her eyes fall on a picture of her and her parents. It was the time they went to Montana for Christmas. She remembers the warmth of the love they shared and the fire roaring in the fireplace. That was last year. At the time, she had no idea she may only have one more year of her life. Thoughts flood her mind of the man she would never meet, the kid she would never have, and the love she would have showered him with. She would not die today. There was too much life for her to live. She would fight to live it. The woman doubles her efforts. If she couldn't break the bonds, she would try to break the table. Dull aches fill the back of her knees and on the inside of her elbows as her muscles and ligaments strain above their capacity. The coughing intensifies as the gag slips lower. During the struggle, she doesn't hear the heavy footsteps head towards her. The man stands at the door. The woman looks exhausted and sweaty. She has foolishly tried to break the bonds. The man smiles behind the greasy hair over his face. He could tell she had discovered his trap. He liked to tie one of the restraints in a certain way where it would loosen, but it would never break. It was something he greatly cherished. The moment where these disgusting creatures would have a slight hope of getting away but haven't taken away from him. The man walks around to the side of the table. He listens to the woman gag and struggle for air. He doesn't bother adjusting the gag. She wouldn't have that many breaths left in her body. The pull inside of his chest lessened at the table. The time was soon. All he had to do was wait. The familiar sensations washed over him. His vision started to blur as if he was being shaken fast and violently. In the distance, there was a roar that rushed towards him. It sounded like white noise that was low and rumble-like. It became so loud he could barely concentrate. His vision was so blurred he could not see the small details like buttons or the fear in the woman's eyes. The feelings were exquisite. The touch of his God. The man pulls out a knife. The blade and handle darkened from blood and sweat he had never bothered to clean. From deep inside he felt a pressure growing. At the height of it, he could not breathe. He could not see. He could not hear, except the rushing of blood forced through his body, through his rapidly beating heart, and his body strained from the pressure coming from inside. When he could not take it anymore, he raised the knife high in the air. This was the moment of his God's justice. The knife slams into the woman's chest, right into her heart. The man rips out the knife. From the hole in her chest streams out light. The roar in his ears intensifies and becomes painful. The man holds out his arms as if he was being crucified. The light washed over him. He felt like a paper bag being shredded in a sandstorm. Purification was always painful. His God would not allow him to be filthy after purging the world of the diseased creatures he hunted. The light fades, and the world takes on a darker hue, as it was supposed to be. The man walks around the table and out the door. He doesn't bother closing it behind him. His God will protect him and keep him safe from those that would try to hunt him and stop his work. He gets into his pickup and pulls away. It is a fall afternoon, 72 degrees and mostly sunny. Leaves scatter on the pavement as they are pushed by the wind.